All right. So yay, week 8. Welcome everybody. It's exciting. We had a bunch of blowouts this week. The scores were a little surprising to me across the board, actually. And it's not what the league is looking for. Not our fault, obviously, but yeah, much tighter games are more exciting. So we had a lot of scoring, so that's good. Here's where we sit with the standings. Life West out there to a nice lead in the West, and the Harlequins enjoying a comfortable lead in the East. And then we've got anything could happen there in the middle on the East. Yep, about what we expected. And then the next thing we were going to do is look at stats, but let's do that after we do the advantage stuff.
Hey man, I have a question about the
Yep,
the league table.
sure thing.
Can the Harlequins be caught?
Potentially. I haven't done the math, but there's 3 more games left. So, like, if the Quins
Okay,
lost
there's 3 games
everything,
left. Okay.
yeah, right, because we go to 10. So yeah, that's 3 left. So I
Okay.
guess the Zons could get what, 4 points a weekend. So if the Quins lost everything,
No, because the Zons aren't active the last weekend. They have 1 game
uh,
left.
Everybody has the week off this weekend, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
everybody has the
Atlanta
week
can't
off
be
this weekend.
caught.
Oh, right, because they wouldn't go to 10 total games each, would they? Yeah,
They only have 8. Yep.
good point.
So
On that point, Atlanta, Life West, and Glendale have all qualified for the Cup. The only spot left in contention is that second bit out of the East.
I'm just wondering because there's something that Kat and
Thanks,
I
Kat.
talked about with Quins. They might pull in other players, and I just want to make sure that, like, when I sign the roster sheet, that somebody's like, oh, that's that person's 5th game or something like that.
Hey, Amanda, just so we're clear, like, Joe, you signing a roster sheet means nothing.
Right.
That is between the teams, and if you sign something, who cares?
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, they're supposed to have their stuff done in CMS, and that's someone else's process, not ours. So don't worry about that. Cool. All right, let's go to advantage first. Assuming I can find it today. There we go. Does anybody want to go first or need to go first? I know we've got some people with time constraints. Olivia, you good?
I'm good. I'm back in my hotel room. My
Okay.
internet works, so life is good.
You never know in the hotel room. Okay, then we'll just go down the list, I guess. Stephen Fenaroli, you want to start?
I think Fenaroli said he wasn't going to be on the call.
Oh, do I know that? Rosalind?
Looks like Rosalind is also not on the call.
Oh, thanks for checking that list of participants. Rosalind may be on the other call. Okay, well, we're skipping them then. Olivia, Steve Gore's match is next. Do you want to go?
Yeah, sure. Steve's at a work dinner. I just got back from a work dinner, but take it.
Yeah, it was a night of work dinners. I think that might be what Fenrolli was doing too. Or he was on a plane, I can't remember.
He had a work dinner.
Yeah. So did I, but you know.
It's tough to balance life. It really is.
Yeah, it is, especially when you're getting into week 8. So.
Okay, so this could have been a close match, and then Glendale just came out and dominated it. They weren't taking no for an answer anywhere, and I just, as the match developed, Berkeley just didn't have many answers. Steve did have a bit of empathy to Berkeley, kind of finding a little bit of balance of After the other week, he called all knock-ons, and probably something that hit the ground and bounced forward was still a knock-on. Just he was being overly cautious. Just have a good laugh about that part. But overall, fundamentally, Steve had a good game, and me as a coach and reading his notes about himself, you guys have to find a balance of being self-critical and self-managing your growth as a referee, but don't be negative.
Right.
And reviewing this, he's very self-critical, sometimes overly so, and he had a good match, but there's always places to grow. So in going through this, his big places to grow are choosing when and where to play advantage to elevate the game, and to go from a strong scrum setup process to a scrum management process. So his clips are actually good discussion points for the group. Milking a penalty. Why don't you play that one and just let everyone watch it and decide what they think.
Okay, did everybody see that? Happens pretty quick. So Glendale 9 grabs the ball, pops it right into the retreating player's butt, and then begs for the penalty. So referees, thoughts on this?
She is 100% doing that on purpose.
Mm-hmm. And?
I wonder who she learned that from, Jenny.
Yeah, right?
I don't know.
See the way
That's
she
definitely a Jenny Lou move if I've ever seen one.
the way she holds her arms up is exactly like Jenny did it.
But you can't not call that. So what do you do?
You
I
can
agree.
call. I mean, you can call accident or what's the word? Accidental, incidental, unintended offside, right? Person's retreating.
No.
Mm.
No.
No.
I mean,
No.
You're looking for somebody.
person-
I'm trying not to call that penalty.
Well,
so
can you hear
the
me?
person retreating is the
Okay.
player at fault right now. She
Yep.
should have gotten her butt out of the tackle area and to her own side faster.
I
Yeah,
agree.
But I think it's something you can call. You call the penalty and then you're like, hey, Carly, don't try to milk that. That's what I would do.
So when I looked at this clip, when I first looked at it, not taking it into context on how this play's been going on this entire game, yeah, it looks like she's totally milking it. But I'm trying to think of what's the clear and obvious here. The clear and obvious is that B is very slow to get out, and they've been doing it all game long. What I also know from context is that every time Glendale had the ball, she was getting that ball out that quick, that flat. So milking, maybe with the arms, that makes it even more. But in this case, yeah, I think the idea is, making the penalty was correct. If you want to have a word like, you know what, I got it, but I don't need your arms and knees, whatever.
Anybody else would handle it any differently?
Could always take something from Nigel's playbook and tell her it's not soccer.
No, please don't do that. No one do that. This
I'm
is
kidding, I'm
Haley.
kidding.
I would just encourage if it's 33 minutes into the game, you call the penalty. You can tell her, I don't really like your body language. And you can also have a word to the Berkeley captain, like that player could have rolled to the other side. So they didn't have to put themselves in that position.
Yep.
Yeah, Glendale deserved and earned fastball in this game. And the Berkeley player actions took away that fastball. So yes, she exaggerated the scrum half exaggerated the infraction, but she absolutely was just making a point and deserved it. So is she milking the penalty? And milking maybe too strong, but she earned it. There's very few situations where a player earns a penalty from the defense. And this, I hate to say it, might be one.
Yep. I think it sounds like everybody's on the same page.
Yeah, I know. I hate to be a devil's advocate, but he's also could be making a statement that I don't think the referee's going to see this unless I make it really obvious.
Yep. Well, if she had gone to throw and then changed her angle and we don't call it, the defense has broken and it's taken away space, and we've seen that happen too. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, already, even if she gets a clean pass out there, it's Berkeley's already gained their objective by slowing that ball down.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think they ought to be on advantage already before that pass hits the player.
Yeah, like that's not always called, and like once you like pump it, then you're kind of effed. Like your whole line is effed.
yep. I mean, like,
It matters that it's not always called, so making it obvious sometimes is trying to, it is milking a little bit, but it's also making a little bit of a statement.
I mean, you know exactly what's going to happen even as soon as this. So, yep. Good. Mall tackle? Olivia? Did you get bumped off the hotel Wi-Fi?
Oh, sorry, I was rambling. I was muted. Self-muted. Okay, here we go. Charging in goal, we have good momentum, and in this situation, the ball it goes down by virtue of, I think it was 7 from Berkeley, and we probably should have acknowledged the infraction but maintained the momentum with an advantage. So just watch this and think about how you would adjudicate this.
He does announce mall. Sorry, I just realized when I had it muted, you won't hear it. So, comments, thoughts?
Yellow card.
Didn't look like she came through the middle, that's for sure.
No.
We're at a point in the game when Berkeley is not too far down. They are egregiously offending, but also Glendale has just good rugby, and they score right after this. So it's finding a balance of accepting momentum, letting the momentum continue, but correctly admonishing the infringing team. So 7 from Berkeley deserves an appropriate escalation of admonishment. I don't know if that's a card or if that's a after the try, stopping time and specifically addressing it to make a show. But this is something where we want good rugby. We want to show that momentum. We don't want to crush it. The next clip, Amanda, this is one that we added from a discussion point. Did you add it? We were texting about it earlier.
Yes, I did.
Okay, so guys, this is not about Steve's game, but this is about, okay, we want to see good rugby. We want to produce a product. So we want to let that momentum continue and manage it with when do we stop a game and talk to the team. So I'd like you to watch this. This is a classic double penalty, double whistle, but no card 5 meters out from end goal. How do we want to address this as a group? What makes a good rugby product? What makes an exciting game? And when do we choose the timing of an admonishment? So it's kind of similar to the mall. Like, when do you time it?
Oh, another piece of context was he had another one of these 1 minute before.
Yeah, so this was the
Yep.
second penalty right within that 15, 20
A minute,
minutes
yep.
of a goal.
Steve, did you change behavior doing that with 10?
He's not on.
Oh, Steve's not here.
Nope. he's
Olivia,
not on.
did he change behavior after that talk? It looks like Berkeley was just
Well-
going to go for the. I know this is a philosophical discussion, but
Okay, so Glendale just owned the game. So the amount they were actually on defense was minimal. So I'm not sure I can't really answer that question, right? Like, because then Glendale just owned it and scored a bazillion tries.
right. Right.
So we can't answer that question. And this is Berkeley actually has the ball in hand. Formulaically, it was the exact correct time to warn them. But from a momentum perspective, could he have, and this is a group discussion and a group point of when do you slow the game to give a warning that makes sense for the point in time of the game, and when do you allow the momentum to continue, allow a potential try, then stop the game, double time off, make a show, bring that player forward, and make your statement to not kill or crush that momentum of the team that in this case is down 33-0.
So they do not kick. Their choice was not to go to touch.
So, like, I mean, maybe, I think we had this conversation, what was it, last week? Where you shouldn't get to this general vicinity of the field and then not pull the trigger, like, and talk, which slows the thing down without pulling the trigger on a yellow card. Did we not have that conversation last week or 2 weeks?
We have had a similar conversation, yes. And to be clear, it is a fine line between slowing the ball, like creating structure, right? Because also we have incidents where referee blows a quick penalty on the 5, and then boom, we have a try that was a referee assist. So,
Olivia, how well has Berkeley been attacking in this game? I mean, how often have they been within the 22s?
Not very.
Then I would say this was probably not a good time. This was a time to reward the momentum. They've worked hard to get to this particular point.
Yeah. And so this
not
is
stop the play.
right. And so this is not specific to Steve's game. This is a greater point for the whole group here. Is he was perfect in his timing for how Glendale infringed. Double penalty right there in a row. It's exactly when you should warn. Except we have to consider the momentum of the attacking team and all of that contextual evidence of the game if Berkeley's not controlled the ball. So
here where he did, sorry,
yeah,
my fault.
go for it.
No, here the penalty directly before where he doesn't stop the match but just awards the penalty, they go quickly. So we might conclude that that's their preference.
So I want to just bring up two things. If you could go back to the first penalty and just watch how hard Steve works to get Glendale back. We all actually picked this up in the game.
Yeah.
We were like, dang, look at him like pushing them back. So that's just one thing that I thought was really awesome.
Thank you. No, he had a high work rate the whole game.
He's like, oh God.
Yep, he keeps them from making the not 10 penalty there, for sure.
And my thought process would be you finally get Berkeley on the front foot, and Glendale's been dominating the game. And you can now, like, put Glendale under pressure. You can talk to them. You can show Berkeley that, like, you're not just here to help Glendale wreck them, would be my thought. Like, my first thought would jump to like, oh yeah, I'm gonna talk to Glendale, and Berkeley's gonna be on my side because they're gonna be like, cool, we put them under pressure. And after letting one quick tap go and then having the same thing, my trigger would be like, yep, this is it, this is the time. And I think I would also kind of lose sight of where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that just
No, that makes sense.
Which is why we're talking about it as a group. Like
Mm-hmm.
we want
Yeah.
you to keep sight of where you are.
But not trying to take anything away from what Steve did here, and I agree with Olivia's saying, but in this particular situation, did we give Glendale the chance to set up their defense?
Yeah, I think that's the point that we're trying to make. Yeah, is that by having that captain's chat, it gives Glendale the chance to.
It's excellent. I think the trigger happened for him. He just had that penalty, and they do it, I mean, immediately, within a minute, like bang. And I think in his head, it's like bang, trigger, no, stop. Repeated, you got to stop. And so I'm like, okay, you made that decision. Okay, great, you talked, great, you had it. But I absolutely understand what everybody is saying here, because within that 10 meters, wow, if they want to take it quick, that was their opportunity.
Yeah. Good chat.
Okay, let
Anybody?
me just ask, the reason why you couldn't let them take it quick and say something to Glendale as a team while play is going on. Glendale, 2, real quick, need discipline.
Potentially. I've also know referees who will ask the team, are you going quick? And then make their decision about what they're going to do right there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also an option if you are thinking about where you are. So, any other thoughts about it? Cool. Thank you, Olivia, for presenting for Steve. Okay, so who's next? Haley, do you want to go?
Is Lee on yet?
Yeah,
He
I'm
might
here.
still be on the Lee. Sorry about Lee Johnson, my coach person.
Yeah.
I wanted to wait. No offense, buddy. I wanted to wait for him to get off of the D1A call, if that's okay, if I could go a little later.
Yep.
Thanks.
Lee Bryant, you want to go?
Yep, sure.
Okay. Let me go to your report. Tell us about the weekend.
So, I mean, Life West just dominated the crap out of San Diego. I thought it'd be a little bit closer, but San Diego's game plan, I think, basically was just to be disruptive, and it was not super frustrating, but they were just being just disruptive in the breakdown all game. But they couldn't put anything together and just couldn't keep up with Life West, so ended up being pretty big blowout.
Yeah.
But I was pretty happy with the scrums, ball out. I felt like the ball recycling was pretty good. The teams were pretty responsive. So just, a couple little polishing things here and there. But yeah, it was just, by the second half, you could just tell that San Diego just didn't want to. They were basically playing like defense all game. Even when they had the ball, they just couldn't move forward. So
Right.
kind of disappointing. So I only have 2 clips because there wasn't really anything else that I thought the group would get anything out of. So
Cool.
They're pretty basic, like scrum things to look for. Maybe the no strike or no hook. Life West was doing something this game that I need to probably manage a little bit more. Is they're lining up off the mark a little bit, like backing up a little bit, and probably should have been a little bit more stern on that, but San Diego was adjusting a little bit. I was kind of letting the hookers deal with it. But this is an example of a scrum where no one was hooking, and Life West didn't do it a lot, but this was the most overt one, so a good example for everyone to look at. And that number 9 for Life West also, both teams started to do by the end where they would just hold it, and even when it was stable, then they both nines would hold it for a little bit, trying to get a penalty. So just be aware of that if you have San Diego or Life West next match, that they might be trying to milk for that scrum penalty. And then the other scrum clip was.
Can we make sure that we are keeping the 9 honest? Because I think that's part of the reason we don't see much of a hook here, is because she's got that body angled when she puts it in.
Yeah, she's
I
not
think
even
there
square.
is like a itty bitty. I think they sort of put a foot out, but they don't have to do much.
No.
Yeah, I think keeping her honest and square might help us see more hook.
Yeah, and it's odd, they didn't do it most of the game, so I'm not sure why they picked that one. But and then this one, just pay attention to the loose head for Life West, and if you feel like the scrum is moving away from you towards the sideline, then there's probably a issue. So. And Life West actually hadn't been boring too much most of the game. They were pretty good about staying low, so just some.
What point in the game is this? Second half? This San Diego's body position isn't great here on the set.
No, and they also a little bit. They have a new front row too.
Do they?
Yeah, I mean, this is after like both teams put in a shit ton of subs, and we all know that subs mess stuff up. But so I should have just reset it and told both the loose head and the tight head, hey, square up. But
yeah, she's just getting worked. San Diego's getting worked. Her post-engage body position is bad, and then I think Life West gets that push on. Yeah, tough one.
But yeah, but if you feel the scrum is moving away from you, you should probably do something about it.
Thank you, Lee.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, Rosalind, are you on?
Yeah, I made it.
Okay.
Sorry I was late.
That's
the
okay.
D1A call did go over. I wasn't paying attention.
Must have been interesting then.
Actually, it really was.
Good.
But this is more interesting. I'm glad I'm here now.
Well, there you go. So positive. Do you want to tell us anything about Steven's match, or do you just want to do the clip, or what would you like to do?
Well, he was been working on communication, and there were some big successes. He had fewer long talks, some other things to work on. Thank goodness, because the video was absolutely horrible. And so luckily he was wearing his voice recorder. So we were able to find a lot to work with there. And he did a lot better recognizing repeat infringements. That's been one of his work-ons. Cool. And then we talked about, making sure to call clear and obvious penalties. He's like thinking more, after our conversation, he's thinking more about advantage and his communication and like materiality. Is it really a clear and obvious penalty? Can he play on? He came back for advantage a lot. We all get stuck in those situations. So that's it. And he had a great time.
Is the voice recorder one of his deliberate practice things that you guys have been doing this season, or?
Yeah, so one of the deliberate practice was to watch games and think about penalty counts. And then the voice recorder came from the last game he had in this series. Some issues came up, so he was able to wear it this time. So yes, we just wanted to listen to what he said to see if we could find some things to get better. I think some of you listen to everything, like Haley, don't you? Like always wear your voice recorder and Haley.
Yeah, for every game. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, how useful is that? I think it's a great resource. So.
Yeah, I mean, I have like charts and stats going back years that show it's great because you can see where you had runs of penalties, you can track the time, and it's forced me to like say the color and number of the infringement persons so that when I do my own stats then
you have it.
It's just a good habit. Yeah.
That's cool.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
if you don't have a digital recorder, you should totally get one.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that because this was so useful because, you're watching this video and it's terrible video and there's no sound, but it was hard to sync up because the video kept popping out, but then just to have something to make sense of all that. So that was super useful.
This is off topic, but I'm thinking I'm going to go in here and edit this. Don't be a dick. I don't know how we feel as a group from a professionalism standpoint. Am I being a prude, or do we think?
Oh, I kind of had a weird feeling about that. Like, so I mentioned it and I put it in quotes. So I think we could change it to jerk and it wouldn't be the worst thing.
No, you're not being a prude. We're trying to be professional here.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I saw that and I thought, oh, I'm just so conservative.
Okay. Yeah,
okay,
I
cool.
was sort of thinking the same thing, but
Good.
yeah, I think if a couple of us are on the same page, we'll just
change it.
Update that. Which one do you want to do first?
Doesn't matter. I gave the
there's
unplayable.
only
one. No, then Steven put one in.
Okay.
Line break, and then
here, PK unplayable or play on.
Okay, Kat's gonna say play on.
Okay.
So just to set it up, because you're gonna see the important part at the very end of this. So green's running, green ball carrier, white goes to compete for the ball, tries to strip. Another green player comes in and takes out the white player, tackles her. So the question is, the original green ball carrier, who was getting the ball stripped when white got tackled off, can she keep the ball? Has there been a tackle and everyone has to let go of everything? Or is there a penalty kick or scrum for unplayable?
They don't seem upset with that call. Let's see. Oh, this clip goes really long. All right, I'll try to slow it down so we can see what's happening here. There's the tackle. The green player still has it and comes away with it. Okay, does anybody have thoughts and want to share them? What are other refs going to do? Kat, are you playing on?
From this angle, it looks pretty dodgy seeing her land on the ground and then no clear release by green, and then green coming up with the ball. From a different angle, I could totally buy that green had the ball the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
But from this angle, I'd have to also call not releasing.
Okay.
Just that's all I can see.
Gotcha.
So I don't play on.
Okay.
Boom, boom, boom.
So agreeing with Steven's call. Anybody else have any other thoughts?
I can't really see what's happening. This is Amelia, but I, just based on the way it looked, would think that it's okay that green came up with the ball and probably would have played on if I was watching it from this far away.
Gotcha. Yeah. I think it's a tough call. It's kind of bang bang. Haley?
It's just kind of hard to see from the film to make a judgment call.
I agree. Unfortunately, Chicago North Shore has not put in great film this year. Go ahead, Peter. What was that?
Their filming has not gotten any better.
No, it hasn't.
So I just thought it was interesting that he made this penalty, called this penalty, and I really agreed with him. But then he doubted himself after, and his logic was that the green player didn't know that she was doing something wrong. But I'm like, no, I think his first instinct was right, but I can see someone playing on. He had thought maybe a scrum for unplayable, but I don't know that that would have been
Yeah, that would have been tough sell
best
since the
choice.
ball was playable.
Yeah,
You know, I
but
mean,
play
she's
on
had it in her
maybe.
hands.
I don't think the green player game, completely took the ball away before everything went to ground.
I
Say
think
that again,
she
Peter?
was the original ball carrier, and then white latched on.
Yeah.
Okay, white latched on.
Yep, and then the green arriving player brings it to ground.
Well, that's a tackle. I think she's got to release it.
Okay.
Wait, who brought the ball in?
Green brought the ball in.
Wait,
Girl.
Green brought the ball in?
Yep.
Correct. Green
Oh, play
brings the
on. Easy. I thought White brought the ball in. Sorry.
Yep, green's carrying the ball. White latches onto the ball only. The arriving green player clears off the white player, and the original green ball carrier comes up with it at the
Play
end.
on.
Yep. We need better video. Where's the Hawkeye system? Okay, what's this one?
So Stephen just wanted to hear what people thought about this intentional knock. He gave a yellow card. It was, we talked about it last week.
Sounds good.
I like it, I'm gonna be honest.
A camera is not even like remotely centered on anything. Jeez. Okay, let's just go back.
Well, yeah.
There it is. And good quick whistle.
Yeah.
It was probably a
I
line
really
break.
learned, yeah. Well, Green kicked it and could maybe have scored off of her intentional knock. A good choice.
Anybody
I
going
learned
PK
a
only?
lot from last week.
Yeah. Everybody feels yellow card?
Yeah, it looks like he handled it pretty well.
Yeah. I think that's the standard we're talking about. So great job. So is he second guessing himself?
One thing, if he's got to decided on a yellow card, to be just straight up to stop time.
Stop time before you give the penalty. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Once you've given the penalty, they have the right to take it quickly if they want it. Not in this case, but in general. If the ball's there, they're tapping and going while you're fishing in your pocket for a card.
Right. Good point.
You want to give if you're going to give the card, or even an admonishment, to stop it, like Steve did. Then when you're done, award the penalty.
Okay. Haley, are you ready? Lee Johnson, did you make it on?
He may not have. That's okay. I can do it myself.
Okay.
So I had the Amazons and the Harlequins, and my first thought was I'm determined to get quick ball and prove that teams in the East can play good rugby, can play quick, and can score a lot of points. So my game plan said, like, quick ball or else, haha. So the breakdown was pretty nice and open. The first half was very well contested. There's a little bit of foul play that I feel like I handled with a bit of a soft touch that was just enough to keep things under control in the first half. The second half, it really wasn't a problem. I had like a couple of quiet words with a couple of players. That seemed to help. And then I did have a yellow card for foul play that like nobody else saw. I just heard I heard a fight develop like to my right as the ball was being passed out to my left. So I looked down and Blue 3 had her hand on Orange 8's throat. So I just blew time off and was just immediately with the yellow card. I regret not going to my AR for that particular incident to just see if he could offer more he didn't see it in the end. It turns out he didn't see it at all. But when something like that happens, you have to ask yourself, well, what did Orange 8 do to warrant Blue 3's motivation to put her hand on her throat, right? So, so Orange 8 actually in the next 2 minutes, she had a high tag goal that we played advantage for. When I came back for it, I warned her specifically, and she was okay after that. I think I actually played penalty advantage off of another high tackle for the Amazons. The try was scored, and I didn't follow up. So, I mean, my management was like just enough in the first half, and it was 22-15, I think, at halftime. So then the second half, I had a great 30 minutes, and then then in the last 9 minutes of the game, like the Harlequins had 4 ruck penalties, and at the time I'm like, oh, how's a yellow card gonna help the game right now? But for me, like going back to my game plan, I needed to just be true to my game plan. And, you know, I hate cards, but you know what? I hate ruck penalties worse. So it would have been better for me to, because number 5 had, she played the ball on the ground, which is technically a ruck penalty. She was on the ground and there was a counter ruck, and then she, grabbed back onto it. So, and then it was within 2 minutes later that she had the ruck was clearly formed to use her hands. I don't think anybody would have been upset with me just straight carding her right there, because the Quins were under pressure. It would have been fine, totally accepted by everyone. So I let myself down there at the end of the game. I had a number of errors in terms of like missing a couple, there were a couple of weird knock-ons here. There was a harsh penalty for an offside knock-on that actually went backwards. Felt terrible about that one. Didn't realize it at the time, obviously, but I don't know. It's just one of those games where I spent a lot of time on my review and did a lot of soul searching, and I decided to live another day and go do another game.
All right, let's look at these clips.
Yeah.
The ball away.
Yeah, this is just something I want everybody to see that we didn't really pick up on at the time, but this is just a sneaky way that a team that's gotten penalized, can get away with throwing the ball away and killing, the opportunity for a quick tap. So you see the Quins player comes from the side clearly. And then, did you see the Quins 9 throw, pass the shit out of the ball? Pardon my French.
You think she had time to stop the pass?
The whistle goes. The timing is a whistle.
Yeah.
Yeah, she absolutely had time to decide to not do that. So I thought I was subtle and but most likely absolutely deliberate, and just something that we can't lose sight of the ball after we call a penalty. That was just my main point in sharing this.
All right, what's the other one? This one?
Yes. So this was, I went in goal too soon. So
Yeah.
I was reading the play, and I don't think I was playing advantage here, but we'd gone left and right, and so I'm running back across, and I had players in front of me, so I didn't even see that the pass had even bounced. I just saw the Quins player dive in for the try. So I'm like, woo, here I was, score to my feet. And then Cisco was like, actually, there's a forward pass. And I was like, oh, really? Okay, no try. Forward pass, my bad. Those were my exact words. And the players, the Amazon's front row, the scrum, the Amazon scrum was very forgiving. But it's still I should not be in goal. I need to be working hard to get back behind here so that I can make these judgments myself, because if I hadn't had an AR, I would have made a garbage call for a try, completely lost credibility, in the middle of the first half of the game. I think I just being honest and saying like, hey, I was wrong. That I wouldn't say that endeared me to them by any means, but like definitely like, okay, you're human, you'll admit it, and when you apologize to players for being wrong, it seems like they're like, wow,
Sure.
Apparently referees don't do that very often. Anyways, I think Lee may have posted this one. So
Yep. You want to read what he wrote? Let's see. Advantage to Zons that had attacking momentum and allowed them to develop the advantage, which resulted in a try being scored. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Except imagine that in an accent.
Right.
Not Southern.
So the player's not rolling away, and that was my timing.
No, still managing too once advantage is on. That's really great.
Yeah, I wanted it to work. So then
she gets her head ripped off.
Right. Then I had that. So like I said, soft touch on foul play in the first half, but I consulted the AR and he was like, he said there was foul play after. I didn't see it that way. For me, it was like all in the act of scoring, and the try was scored. And so I really beat myself up about this. I was like, oh my gosh, I should have made this big theatrical admonishment about it. And, but the player seemed fine. I was kind of like, well, is that why Orange was a little on the edge in the first half? I think they probably would have been anyway. But that's just one of those times when you look back and you learn from it. Because regret's the biggest sin. I can only analyze this game so much before I move on.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was a good job. So
Thanks.
Thank you. We promised we would talk a little bit about the league stats this week, and we're starting to get short on time. So we talked about this stuff last week. San Diego's most penalized. Zons are the least penalized. It's funny because we talk about how the East and the West, there's the difference between the two, but at the end of the day, the West has only scored 40 more points than the East, which I would have thought it would have been a lot more than that. 21 PKs per game is our average, 4 foul play PKs per match, and we're averaging just under 1 yellow card per game. This is what the stats look like that I can run an advantage. I don't know if everybody has that ability or not. So this is what it looks like for our league through round 6. And what I did was went and put those in a spreadsheet, and then Joe has been looking at them for us and has some different things that he wanted to show to the group.
Yeah, so I want, unfortunately, this is what we were working off of. This is the back end. This is through week 6 as well.
And I pulled through week 8 in case people are interested. And the only thing that's changed is the score went up by like 1 point, and our penalty advantage is up 3 percentage points. Everything else is pretty much exactly the same. So sorry about that, Joe, for interrupting.
So what I was insinuating that we were possibly able to do was I wanted to have a little bit of statistical variation. See, like, one game, Life West got penalized 40 times, and that would throw off their stats. Well, that's not necessary. So, man, are you able to go to any of the bar? There we go. Okay, so here we go. This is total scoring with the blue. Let me just make sure that I'm talking correctly.
I believe it's points for
15, 7. Yes, so blue is in the first half. Blue is in the first half. Red is in the second half. And then the whole thing is through the match. So you can see that there is definitely I think that the scoring is more average in the East and heavily weighted with the more dominant four teams in the West.
Right. Yeah, that is what that would tell you for sure. So the teams are winning by a greater margin in the West because you see that with Glendale and Life West.
So then the next one shows penalties, total penalties. Blue is again in the first half, red in the second half. We'll talk about that part later. It shows that Orsu they are scoring the least and getting penalized quite a lot. If anybody wants to see, I mean, you can see the data that we were working off of.
Yeah, but we're pretty even for our penalties first half and second half, and then for the league, it's interesting that Life West is getting almost 3 more penalties in the second half than the first half, and then Glendale has the inverse. Go ahead, Peter.
I was going to say, Life West is doing a lot of subtle things. It's taking people a half to figure out what's going on.
That could be.
And then also, Peter, I know that you had requested quarter by quarter, possibly, maybe with, that 6.8, if they had their starting players on the entire time, they would not be doing that. Maybe their substitutes are the worst, and they're just committing all these penalties because they want to be on the first team. But that's something that we don't have access to at this point.
Yeah, I wasn't really interested in teams so much as do we see anything with referees losing focus at certain parts of the game?
And then also, I guess I guess you would have to add in error, missed penalties. But that would be
right. And advantages, gained advantages should count as penalties.
Yeah, that's true.
True. Next one will be okay. We'll go to that one. So, card ownership. So we talked about how we're just short. I think we're at 0.8 a card a match, and then you can see how it breaks down. North Shore and New York are getting most of our cards.
It's a pretty hefty chunk, isn't it?
Yes. And then if you're looking for Glendale's, at least through week 6, they had not received the yellow card. So that's why they're not on the graph.
Wait, did I have them in week 7 or something? Maybe that's
Maybe.
Yes. Was that? Yes. Yes.
Jeff gave them a yellow card that may or may not have been correct, but I know they had one this season.
All right. There's your stat.
Yep. Good. They needed one. Oh, and I stuck this in just so that we could all look at scrum penalty kicks like we would expect, I guess. Life West and Glendale are the most heavily... The games that Life West and Glendale are playing in are receiving the most penalty kicks. So, yeah, the Life West coach approached me and basically said that we were talking about them an awful lot on the calls, and they felt like they were being persecuted at the scrum, was his exact words. And I was like, well, actually, funnily enough, I've just pulled all of the statistics, and you guys get twice as many penalty kicks for you as the league average. So it's interesting, though, that the two teams that are using the scrum as sort of an attacking weapon, that we see that reflected in the total number of penalty kicks.
They're taking chances on attack, and and they're forcing their opponents to cheat to oppose them.
Yep. So, yeah, and then we see, Atlanta and Beantown, they're hardly getting penalized at all at the scrum. So, and even overall, we're not giving away that many at the scrum. We're averaging around 2 penalty kicks per game at the scrum. So.
And then, Amanda, I don't know if you have this one in there. I wanted to talk about ruck penalty kicks, first half, second half, and then, I mean, you can look at.
Was
I
it
totaled
in?
them, and I wanted to look at like play styles or what were, actually application of this. Would be called.
That's all I got.
Oh. It's in the halfway. Anyways, the All Blues are not being called for a lot of their penalties. A lot of their ruck penalties in the first half. They're averaging less than a half a penalty in the first half, and then they are getting 0.4. At least that's the way it's less than a half, and then they're picking it up back up into normal territory in the second half. So that might be something that we might want to look at. That's something that I noticed with the trend. We're not cleaning it up.
1.3.
Right.
Yep.
So maybe we're not picking that up until late.
Or are they super honest?
Or maybe their subs are have an issue. But that was the biggest trend, and then I'm noticing that first half, second half penalties, we're doing a good job at setting a standard, higher penalty counts in the first half, less than the second half.
Yep. Yeah, it all looks pretty good from a stats standpoint. Interesting. Cool. Thank you, Joe.
On average, we're awesome.
Yeah, we sure are. That's amazing. Does anybody have any thoughts or anything else they want to talk about on that stuff? See anything? Ready to go to bed for the night?
Just it's really cool. Thanks for all that work, because that's really awesome.
Yeah.
Wait, I have one thing. So you said that Life West was complaining that they felt they were being persecuted, but technically they were being rewarded and persecuted the same amount.
Yes. They do receive more scrum penalties than everybody else.
Twice as many.
Millie, I think that it's more that we're talking about all the things that Life West is doing poorly, and then we're not recognizing the fact that it's like either we need to talk about it and then do something about it, or not talk about the negative side of what they're doing. So much. Because it's like we talk about them doing scrummaging poorly, and then they're not getting penalized for it. So either they're doing it well, and we need to be like, yeah, okay, they're doing it well. Here's why, or just.
Yeah, but we are penalizing them.
We are penalizing them. We are.
So I think they are being persecuted, but they're also being rewarded.
Yep.
So I think both are a fair point, but just from your statement, I don't know, I can see the coach's statement also being true.
Well, yeah, and it's an interesting thing for us to think about when we are looking at scrum clips. Sometimes it's easiest for us to go grab something from Life West game because they're great scrummagers, but should we be spreading that around because they may have awareness of that their clips are in there more often?
Yeah, I think the thing that I get from this is like mathematically, like we're getting more penalties when Life West is in the scrum, whether it's against them or for them, and that's just because the scrum is less stable.
But the same exact statistics for Glendale. I actually went back and double checked it because I was like, did I copy that wrong? How can they be the same? But they are the same. So Life West and Glendale both using it as an attacking weapon, and that's what it looks like. Yep. So if it was just Life West, I would be concerned, but to see something similar for Glendale, I think we're probably okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I just want to look at it again. Thanks.
Yep. Okay. This is what next week looks like, unless anybody else has something. Or sorry, next week is a bye. We all get the week off. I'm sure people have vacations planned. It's going to be wonderful.
No meeting?
No meeting. No meeting. We don't have any rugby to talk about. What are we going to talk about?
Gosh, I'll make my bedtime. Oh my god.
Yeah. I mean, we could meet and just have a chat, online, have dinner together or something like that. I have no life.
Hey, did everybody know that Amanda's getting inducted into the Raleigh Rugby Club Hall of Fame? Joe, did you announce that last week? But I just wanted to point it out again in case nobody knew
Thank
that.
you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. So that's what I'm doing this weekend. But
Wish
yeah.
I could be there.
Yeah. And then this is what week 9 is going to look like. We've got Steve Gore, Fenaroli up, Jenny Lou, and Kat will go to New York. So Kat's game, big one. Gonna decide some places. Maybe. Cool. Uh-oh. Who's got a birthday? Who? No, it's not you?
Bob Hosler.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, Bob.
It is your birthday, Bob.
Thank you. Thank you.
I like embarrassing other people. And congratulations to everyone who was on the HSBC crew. It was really fun watching throughout the weekend and trying to pick out our people. So, yay.
Congrats to Zus, who had her debut and then also got to ref the bronze medal match. I think that's the biggest jump I've ever seen. So good job, Zus.
Very awesome.
Thanks for having my back out there, Kat.
And this is a picture because a lot of the refs from the HSBC went out to watch Steve Gore's game, and he was really happy with the support. So that was a really awesome thing that you guys did. So community is important, and way to make this a good one. Thanks,
We
everybody.
had enough people to fill their own B-side in case we were needed.
I'm pretty sure I heard that we didn't talk enough in the radio during the game, so he was a little upset about that.
Just remember that for finals weekend and make sure we all have radios for Steve Gore's game.
All right. Unless anybody else has something, that's all from me. So thanks, everybody. Enjoy your weekend off, which you're probably just doing other rugby anyway. And we will not have a call next Wednesday. And that's that. Yeah, I don't think I need to tell you anything else about finals. They are trying to do a coaching thing around finals, USA Rugby. So there's going to be some stuff. That's
So we
it.
can't get pedicures on Saturday.
So when Jamie McGregor told me they wanted to do this coaching thing, I was thinking in the back of my head, well, there goes my pedicure.
Yeah,
So.
like that's a team pedicure day.
I think I'll pass on that.
We already had a gift certificate for you guys. Yeah. So
Are they trying to educate us in the middle of a championship weekend?
Yes, I have already said what I think is a good idea and what I think is a bad idea, and I've done my best to try and create the safe space for you guys that we have known up until now.
They did our level 3 around the WPL championships one year.
Yeah.
Just because they feel whatever.
Yes. So, yep. And if it's a problem, then we'll nip it in the bud. But I think I've put parameters in place that will help it be successful.
Then are they talking about using the referees as coaches or as trying to teach the referees something new?
Neither. So we've talked to them, and I said I don't really want the referees coached by anyone except for the individual they've been being coached by this whole year. So the referee and their referee coach will know what they need to do and what conversations are best for that referee at that time. I said absolutely no gang referee coaching. Like, we will not have 3 or 4 people talking to one referee.
We don't want the piranha effect?
I do not want any of that. So it sounds like what it will be is coaches will be invited to come and work with our group of existing coaches, but the referees will not be educated or coached by that group, just their individual coach. Does that sound okay to everybody?
Now, what do they mean by coaches are going to work with our coaches?
Like they'll just open it up if you want to fly into WPL weekend, and you can stand beside Rosalind Anderson and talk to her pre-match, and then talk to her, work as a group during the match, and then Jamie McGregor will be leading it, and I guess Jamie's going to tell everybody what great conclusions they should have come to throughout the match.
All right, and we hope the coaches will have wonderful times doing that. Right, Bob? Right, Dave?
Well, you guys, unfortunately, are included in the quote-unquote coaching list for the weekend.
We're PRs.
Okay, then the PRs will be running the technical zone for all 5 games.
No.
Are you trying to punish us?
It's a reward to be in the technical zone.
You get a radio.
Don't look at it as a punishment. You could talk to Steve Gore. He really likes that.
Cat, I'm old and slow.
Yeah.
You don't have to move that much in the technical zone.
Yeah, you'll be a number 4. The coaching staff, we will be rotating through as number 4s. So, yeah, I think it'll work out okay. So, we'll do our best. Any other questions around that? Cool. Okay. If there's nothing else, everybody have a really great evening, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Take care, guys.
Bye.
You too. Good night.